So I want to talk about Jabril Cox, North Dakota State, and LSU, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I hate the way that this microphone stand is in the frame. I really don't like it. Well, I guess we're just going to roll with it for this segment. Look, I read Brody Miller's story about Jabril Cox where I learned some things about him, North Dakota State, LSU, that I thought you probably didn't know. And I wanted to tell you about those things while also giving you just this opinion about linebacking and what it's going to look like at LSU in Bo Pelini's defense. But one of the most interesting parts of Jabril Cox's story is he's one of the rare kids that gets to leave his place, transfer immediately right away, and have nobody resent him, right? Last year, that guy was unanimously Jalen Hurts going to Oklahoma, all he had done at Alabama. This year, Chase Bryce, Clemson, going to Duke. Now Jabril Cox going from North Dakota State, a national championship winning program, to LSU, a national champion winning program. First player to ever do that on both fronts, FCS to FBS in that manner, national championship team to national championship team back-to-back years in that manner, Jalen Hurts notwithstanding. Now, a couple of things that strike me as important to note about Jabril Cox. We have talked a bit about how he played quarterback at Raytown South in Kansas City. We haven't talked about one of the reasons for which he was so good at playing linebacker is because he played quarterback at Raytown South in Kansas City. He also played running back, wide receiver, safety. He was moved all around for Nick Atkins, and the reason was not just his athleticism, for which is prodigious, 6'3", 233 pounds. He's an inch shorter than Isaiah Simmons and weighs about as much, okay? It's because of his football intellect, his IQ, as they say, which I think is the wrong word to use when we're talking about the way that guys see football, because it's really about intellect, and IQ stands for something else entirely, right? But because you're a quarterback, you have such a great understanding of schematic football. You see it from the field level. One of the favorite things that I got to do last year was interview Joel Klatt about how he sees football and how he is able to analyze it in real time during a broadcast. And he described it as a wheel, open and closing, right? You can understand basic downs and distances. You can understand formations, and you could see what the defense is trying to do, and then tell you what the offense is going to do, because the offense is going to react to what the defense is doing. Jabril Cox had a great understanding of this and was being recruited as a quarterback until he blew out his ACL in his junior year and kind of fell off the face of the earth. Meanwhile, then defensive coordinator, now head coach at North Dakota State, Matt Entz, saw a player. Now, what he saw was a guy he wanted to play defense, one, because he had played quarterback, but because he also had this tremendous speed. Now, Jabril Cox's dad believes his 40 time is probably in the low 4.4s. Cool. My 40 time is in the low 4.4s if my dad is talking about it too. But I think it's interesting to note here, he said, look, we don't really know because North Dakota State doesn't really run 40s like that. That's a tell, right? North Dakota State is a football factory. They play football. That's what Chris Kleiman coached. That's what Scotty Hazelton coached. That's what Matt Entz coaches now. They have won 8 of the last 9 national championships in that division because they coach football. 40-yard dashes are fun. They give us a baseline understanding for how fast a guy can run in a straight line, and we put a lot of emphasis on it. But it is not a great predictor of football success. What made Jabril Cox so fast is he's able to diagnose and understand plays and schemes and time up his blitzes. Matter of fact, the first time that Matt Entz gave Jabril Cox an opportunity to play was against Bo Pelini's Youngstown State. That squad at the time is ranked number 8 in the country. That's what the Penguins were doing, right? Bo Pelini had him humming right along. Chris Board, who ends up playing the NFL, went out with an injury in that game. Jabril Cox, redshirt freshman, comes in. Matt Entz calls a blitz for him on his first play. And the kid gets home. Has 2 tackles for loss and has a great game. Forces Youngstown State into a last-ditch opportunity to field goal. Overtime, they win the game. Bo Pelini famously said last October, I don't know why you wouldn't draft Jabril Cox. I don't know why you wouldn't want him on your football team, because that guy is an NFL player. Not knowing that he's going to be the defense coordinator at LSU the following year, and Jabril Cox is going to list LSU, Texas, and others among his final 4 for places that he was thinking about going once he had made the decision to transfer. It's always interesting to hear how these discussions go, right? Because on the one hand, publicly, most of the time, you hear coaches saying good things about the kid that's transferring, or if they really don't like it, they have nothing at all to say. Okay. In this case, Entz said, look, did we want to lose him? No. I talked with him every day since he told me he wanted to transfer, and I talked with him in the weeks following until he made his decision. What I did say to him when he got there was, I challenge you to be the best linebacker in the country and to win a national championship. He's an All-American. He was a finalist for the Buck Buchanan Award, which is given to the nation's best defensive player at that level. And he's won 3 straight national championships, going 45-1 over 3 seasons. Yeah, I think you can't get upset with Jabril Cox if he decides to leave the Bison. And nobody is, by the way. Nobody up there is upset with his decision. They would have all loved to see him play for the Bison, but who wouldn't have if you are a Bison fan? But it's also not as if North Dakota State's not going to be all right. They're going to be just fine. Matter of fact, they get to show the world what they've been doing during this quarantine film, probably, when they get to when they get to play Oregon in Eugene. I'm excited for that game because I think it's going to be really, really good. And I think y'all are all going to get to know Trey Lance if you don't already know Trey Lance. Now, Jabril Cox ends up picking LSU. It's easy to say he picked LSU because they won a national championship. It's easy to say he picked LSU because he wants to have a stage for where he can increase his draft stock. He thought about going in this year, but he got a grade round of 4th and 5th, maybe 3rd. He goes to LSU with stuff to prove, and he could end up being talked about the way that we talk about Kavlon Chasen and Patrick Queen, which is to say 2 dudes that could go in the first round of this month's NFL draft, right? Also goes at a position of absolute lead because they lose Jacob Phillips, they lose Patrick Queen, they lose Kavlon Chasen, right? Many people think Damone Clark is going to be heir apparent there, but it's also a different defense. It's no longer a 3-4, it's a 4-3, which means that Bo Pelini needs traditional linebackers. Jabril Cox is a traditional will. Now, will he play Mike? We'll see, because I slot him as the top linebacker at LSU right now. I don't care what you got to say about LSU fans. See me in the comments. Look, I get it. You feel good about your recruiting class, but most people feel good about their recruiting classes, and you always feel good about the kids that haven't played because they haven't played yet. Jabril Cox has played. You know who he is. You know what he can do, and you know what Bo Pelini thinks of him. It's just a matter of time until he ends up in that position of Will or Mike for me, and he's not going to play strong side because you're wasting him, right? You want him shooting gaps. You want him making plays. You can play him free safety or strong safety as well. He's got that kind of range. He's got tremendous hands. You're going to match him up against a tight end, a slot receiver when the time comes. And on 3rd down situations, you're going to put him in a 4th and 9 and say, go kill the quarterback. And if he could do that in LSU, we're talking about him as a 1st-round draft pick next year, to say nothing of whatever it is LSU is able to do. Because I think you can pin a lot of hopes and dreams on really 3 players at LSU right now. Derek Stingley Jr., Tyler Shelvin, and Jabril Cox. I get it. Y'all like Jacoby Stevens. Fine. Whatever. Y'all like Plott. Fine. Whatever. I like Elias Ricks. I think he's going to be next. I think Dwight McGlothern, when he gets there, he's going to be really good too. I think he's going to be fine at the wide receiver positions for obvious reasons. Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, hello. I'm not sure about Miles Brennan. Chris Curry showed me some things. We'll see what John Emery has to say about that. Ty Davis Price to go along with that. Look, it's about, can you play defense in a league where everybody's going to throw the ball and score? Okay? The days of murder ball are over. Todd Monken coming to Georgia basically solidified that. Everybody's going to be coming for your neck. Everybody's going to be trying to put 42 up on you because they remember you beating the hell out of them going 15-0 win the national championship. Jabril Cox helps you help yourself. I'm excited to see what this kiddo can do. I can't wait to see what he is able to conjure. Learning that Bill Bush was able to land him in part because his mama Latu is American Samoan. Also means there's a Polynesian connection for Bill Bush to make where he can just go over to the Pacific, to the Northwest and go win some kids. And then y'all going to be on a different level. You remember when Trinity Valley was just pumping them out? Yeah. What if LSU was already going to be able to do that? We'll have to wait and see. All right. That's it for me. Doses.